Hey, what's up guys? My name is Fonz and welcome back to another Genshin Impact video. Today, we're going to be doing our first installment of Pull or Pass. This is going to be a series where I start talking about new banners that are going to be coming out in the next updates. And basically just saying, should you be pulling for these characters or should you wait, maybe save your primos for a different character? I'm going to go over some of the details of all the characters so that you kind of get a good feel for them. But in the end, you have to choose who you're going to pick because I'm not choosing. I just won't do it. My fiance can't make me choose lunch. So this was the announcement. We have a Venti banner and a child banner coming back out. Now this is great news for anybody who didn't get one of these characters. I personally didn't get Venti and I'm going to be going in on that Venti banner. Believe that. But the other reason that I'm kind of going in on the Venti banner is because I have child and Hu Tao. They're both C0, but I have them because I think this is important for, I can't focus with Hu Tao doing her little silly Cheryl Hilly. I just can't focus. There's been a lot of this conversation going on and I want to throw in my 2 cents. I personally am not a whale by any stretch of the imagination. I'm a small spender. I've spent a couple $100, but you can see on my account, I still have a lot of characters that I don't have. I don't have a Ganyu. I don't have an Albedo. I don't have a Zhongli. There's plenty of characters that I don't have straight up, but I do have 4 or 5 stars, not including the main character. Cause let's be honest, they're like a 3-star. Let's talk about who you should be pulling on. Now, no matter what, take everything I say with a grain of salt. This is all going to depend on your account. For instance, if your account already has Diluc, maybe you don't need to pull for Hu Tao. Maybe Diluc is all you need. That fire DPS might be it. For me, I have a Zhao, but he has a big issue with energy recharge. So I'm looking at pulling on Venti to kind of fix that problem, have a little bit of support and a little bit of a battery all in one character so that I can get Zhao more energy particles, have his ult up more often. Let's talk about who you guys should be pulling for. So first up, we have Hu Tao, which, is not much longer. You have like a couple days left on this banner and then you're done. Next up will be Venti, and the last will be Tartaglia or child. Now obviously I have experience with Hu Tao and Tartaglia. I don't have any experience with Venti, but he's pretty easy to understand and literally every video ever has Venti, so you can kind of get a pretty good grasp of what Venti does. So the first character up on the chopping block is going to be Hu Tao, the damage queen herself. Now obviously my Hu Tao is not fully built yet, but I will say she's really easy to build because so many of our artifacts that we get always have some sort of like HP rolls on them somewhere. I mean, literally HP everywhere. So she is pretty easy to build because she does scale off of HP. That does make her relatively easy to build. That being said, I would recommend sticking with the Crimson Witch of Flame set on her with some sort of pyro damage bonus cup. As far as the weapons go, she doesn't have a whole lot of weapons that work really well with her. Pretty much if you were lucky enough to pull a Staff of Homa, then you're good. You're golden. Absolutely pull for Hu Tao. You're gonna have a ton of fun. Now let's talk about constellations for Hu Tao for a second. All of her constellations are pretty good. The nice thing is that I don't think you need any of them. Like C0 Hu Tao is still going to be insane for DPS. I don't personally see a reason to pull for more than 1 Hu Tao unless that's just your prerogative and you want to go for 6 of them, do it. But personally, I'm not going to pull for any more Hu Tao. I'm happy with the 1. My only issue with Hu Tao is everything is based on how weak she is. So you're basically going to be running around with her at half of her HP at all times. Like literally, if you have a healer and she goes above 50%, you literally lose 33% damage because when her health is below 50%, she gains 33% damage, which is my main thing with her. I played a little bit with her trying to kind of get the feel for it, and she does hit hard. I mean, she hits like a truck. If you're looking for an absolute glass cannon, this is the definition. Hu Tao is the definition of a glass cannon. She is always less than 50% health because that's where you want to keep her for damage wise, and she hits like a freight train. Next up is going to be Child or Tartaglia. Now Tartaglia I have a lot of experience with. He's fully built. He's my highest leveled character and easily my favorite character in the game. He is 100% the most versatile character in the game. He's so much fun to play just for that fact alone. So he is a bow user, but he does have a talent that allows him to switch over to a melee stance, essentially getting 2 hydro damage swords, and he just goes in. Now Child's kind of in the same realm as Hu Tao where you kind of have one set that's like best for him, and that's this set right here, the Heart of the Depth. Now, I personally like running Heart of the Depth because I like utilizing his melee stance quite a bit, but he can be built with a 2-piece Noblesse and a 2-piece Heart of Depth if you want to get those big damage numbers for your burst. Now, when it comes to Child's constellations, these are pretty good. The only one that kind of has a little bit of an issue is his C4. Basically, once you apply Riptide to one of the opponents, it's going to proc every 4 seconds and send out a little shockwave from that character or from that enemy. And that can make procking Vaporize and Melt a little tricky depending upon how you're running it. So me personally, if I were to pull for more, I would try to get to 3, and that's probably where I would stop. But I mean, regardless, if you wanted to go all the way with Child C6 is insane. He does a ton of damage. but at C0, like I said, I've been using him at C0. I really enjoy him. You have to play him a little differently. He does have some downtime. Once you use his E ability and his ult, you kind of have to swap off of him for a little bit, so he's good to run with a sub DPS, meaning another character you can kind of switch to for a little bit. They can focus damage for a little bit, and then you switch back to Child. I would say C6 is probably his most valuable. If I could skip C4 and get to C6, I would probably pull for more of him, because when you use his ult and melee stance, the cooldown for his switching to melee stance just basically goes off cooldown. You just get it back, which is super sick. Because I will say that's probably Child's only downfall. As you can see here at level 1, his max duration for his melee stance is 30 seconds, and his max cooldown for his melee stance is 45 seconds. So that can be a little bit like, you kind of have to learn how to play Child. But for the most part, I'm gonna be honest, Tartaglia is probably my favorite character, and he probably will be for a long time. Even if he doesn't have like the crazy Hu Tao damage, he's just so cool. He's so much fun to play. There's so many animations happening. Everything is very satisfying. I really like him, and I think if you guys don't have a good Hydro character that you utilized yet, I think he's a solid pickup. Now, the last character that we're going to be talking about is going to be Venti. Here's the thing with Venti. I don't have any experience with him, but like I said before, he is in literally every Genshin video you watch. Everyone who's been playing this game since day one, wishing on every banner, Venti is a staple, literally in almost every single comp you see. And that reason is just his CC alone. So he basically shoots off a giant vortex, sucking everything into a center for like, what, 8 seconds? Yeah, 8 seconds. And it basically allows you to group everything into one little blob of flesh. That sounds really gross. And it basically allows you to just group everything in the room into one spot and just unleash. He also gets the swirl damage with Hydro, Pyro, Cryo, and Electro. So I mean, yeah, Venti just in general is such a good character. You don't really need any constellations for Venti to be insane. I mean, I kind of want this first one because it fires 2 additional arrow shots for aim shots, and that's cool to me. There's also a balloon popping event coming in 1.4, so I think this could be good for that. Yeah, in general, Venti is just a great support just right out the gate. C0 Venti is 100% solid. Now, my traveler's holding all of his artifacts because I have been farming for Venti to kind of get him ready. Now, just like the other 2 characters, Venti is super restricted on what type of artifacts you can put on him for him to be viable. And that set is the Viridescent Viriner set. Now, with Venti, you want to have his ult up as much as possible, so I highly recommend trying to spec for energy recharge as much as you can. You also obviously are going to want to have some crit damage, some crit rate, stuff like that. You want to do your best to focus on energy recharge because that's where Venti shines. Now, the go-to weapon for Venti is a stringless. That is what pretty much everyone uses. If you don't have a stringless, you can run the Black Cliff Warbow, I think it's in the shop right now. If you wanted to pick one up, you could, but that is going to be another weapon that'll be really solid for Venti. Me personally, I'm going to be running stringless. I have a refinement 1 stringless. It's got elemental mastery, but basically it increases all elemental skill and elemental burst damage by 24%, which is pretty much all we're going to be doing on Venti. We're going to swap to him for a second. We're going to pop his E, get some energy, pop his Q, and keep moving. So here's the final verdict from me. If you have your account kind of together at this point and you have like characters that you like using, you're pretty comfortable with your team, I think a Venti is a perfect addition for any account, and that's who I will be going for out of these 3. Venti's constellations all are pretty solid. I don't think you need any for Venti. I personally am only going to be pulling for 1, literally just the 1 Venti. That's all I'm looking for. I don't have a whole lot of constellations on like characters, let alone I don't have any on 5 stars. So yeah, I would say if you're just looking for Venti to be a good support for you, I don't think you need a single one of these constellations. Although I wouldn't mind having constellation 1 where it fires 2 arrows. I kind of regret not going for Shao having 3 dashes. But yeah, in conclusion, if you already have a good team built out and you're pretty happy with your damage, maybe you just need a little bit more of a support, or maybe you're looking for a good animo character, I think Venti is probably the obvious pick. If I'm being honest, if you're just wishing for fun factor, dude, Child is the way to go. If you don't have any Hydro characters already built out, maybe you need a good bow user. Child is so versatile. He is so much fun. I cannot recommend Child enough. He's easily my favorite character. But keep in mind, I did mention that he does have a little bit of a learning curve. If you stay in his melee stance for like 30 seconds and you're just slashing everything, that little melee stance icon will start blinking above your head, and then you have 45 seconds until you can use it again. And I'll be honest, man, that is the most limp my has ever been. Finally, Hu Tao, if you need a good pyro damage dealer, or you're just looking for, like I said before, that glass cannon where you just want to do a ton of damage, Hu Tao is easily your pick. Hu Tao is solid. But I got Hu Tao, and I probably won't be using her as much as I thought I would be, simply because she is just too much of a glass cannon. I said in my video where I was talking about her and I wished for her, I said she's super nice because she can get up to like 40,000 HP. She can get up to that number of HP with Staff of Home. Now you can run something like Black Tassel, which is a 3-star weapon that does give you a bunch of HP as well, and she might be decent, and I might even build her that way. I might try Black Tassel on her and see how I like it, but out of the 3, I think Hu Tao is the weakest pick just for fun factor and all around use. That being said, don't let it discourage you. If you wanted Hu Tao, if you're excited about Hu Tao and you need a good pyro damage dealer, Hu Tao is 100% up there. Some people are saying she's even better than Diluc. Don't y'all disrespect my boy though. I want him so bad. But yeah, with that being said, I hope this video kind of helped you guys. This is kind of just me talking. I don't have like stat sheets that I'm pulling up like some of these other people. I'm not that informative. I'm just giving you like Genshin for dummies, because that's how I need to be talked to, like I'm a 5-year-old. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed the video and it was helpful to you, definitely leave a like down below. It lets me know that you guys enjoy this type of content and you want to see more of it. And comment down below. Let me know who you're going to be wishing for. You already know I'm going for Venti. And if you guys are still new around here and you enjoyed the video, maybe consider subscribing down below. I plan on doing more videos like this here in the future, because I'll be honest, I've been really enjoying Genshin and I want to play way more of it. Also, make sure that you have the bell turned on and have your notifications set to all. Otherwise, you might not see my videos in your sub box because YouTube's like that. And yeah, before I leave, if you could interact with the video in any way, shape, or form, just like, comment, subscribe, whatever you got to do. It helps the channel out a ton, helps me fight the YouTube algorithm to get my videos out to more people. So I greatly appreciate all your support. Thank you guys so much for watching. I love you guys, and we will see you on the next one.